about a very thin backcourt for the Cardinal. The front court for the Demon Deacons is a little more thin than it would be otherwise. So maybe on both sides, a short bench tonight. Stanford wins the tip, and the Cardinal have the ball first. Without a traditional point guard, we're going to see how Kyle Smith's offense runs in this one. Well, they left Ryan Agarwal wide open, and he knocks down the three.
He says you can't do that now. Man's percentages might be down a little lately, but that's a shot I can hit.
So we got a pretty stable starting lineup for Wake Forest. Ty-Laur Johnson, who wasn't playing a whole lot early in the year, the point guard who's got the ball right now, has earned his way into a lot more playing time as the season's gone on. Efton Reed down low, scores with his left hand.
Well, he does. There was a switch out top, Raynaud up top, and now the big fella down low taking advantage of the mismatch.
I guess technically the guy who just shot the ball, Sallis, is the point guard for Stanford tonight. Long rebound, offensive rebound for the Cardinal. I think it's going to be a group effort.
Yeah, it'll be done by committee, Dave. You're right about that, because these guys have not been used to running the show for the Cardinal all year.
Now, Sallis missed the three. Now Stanford, with the shot clock winding down, needs to get another one off. Agarwal double team, so Raynaud down low. And the pass was probably too late anyway, not handled cleanly by Young.
Well, and I like what Wake Forest has done. They've gone out now, they've trapped, they've blitzed some ball screens. They're going to make it go down to a short clock.
And maybe our first instance of when you don't have your point guard on the floor, late shot clock, maybe not as organized as you would be ordinarily.
Now, Jalen Blakes can get you something late. They're going to have to dig deep to find somebody else.
Cameron Hildreth, who's had a nice Wake career, attacks and scores with his left hand. Maybe the toughest player for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, Wake's not afraid to attack at the rim. You can see their game plan early is to go inside.
Ball knocked away and stolen. Hildreth out on the break, will lay it in.
Well, that's a bad turnover in the respect that you turn it over and it leads to a basket. Stanford not getting back in transition, something your point guard usually does every possession.
Wake Forest better than anybody else in this league at forcing turnovers on defense. That one led directly to the layup. Here's Raynaud against Reed, pinned along the baseline. Double team stolen away. And then Hildreth loses it out of bounds. So shot clock doesn't reset, but Stanford will keep the ball.
Well, another short clock, but you can see the strategy early, Dave. It's to get their hands on as many balls, challenge passes, challenge the dribble, and then they just dug it out of the hands of Maxime Raynaud on the block. So they're really challenging everything on the floor. Coach Forbes really good at this and his staff.
Agarwal blitzed again. Raynaud down low. There's Young for the dunk. That time the pass worked.
Well, very good ball rotation. The trap took place, but that ball was zipped pass to pass. The ball moves faster than the defenders.
Donovan Young, who's been hurt for Stanford, playing tonight. Raynaud went for the steal, didn't get it. And now Reed trying to drive against Raynaud. They got Raynaud, that first meeting between these two teams, they got him in foul trouble early.
Yeah, great defensive play by Stanford. They just returned the favor. Great double down in the block. And the turnover.
Jalen Thompson getting his first start tonight, number 24. Has not played a whole lot this year in the starting lineup with the players missing. Down low, there's Thompson, who scores! And a foul.
Well, give Stanford credit, Dave. They are getting the ball rotated, coming out of those traps, and something they're not used to. But you can see the ball rotation is excellent. There's the drive by Agarwal, the zip, and the quick pass inside, and the finish and a chance for three-point play. Great ball movement.
Well, Kyle Smith told us, hey, if you don't have your point guard, it's not like everybody else can't pass. They can chip in. Thompson completes the three-point play. He gave Stanford did not play well over the weekend at SMU, and Blake's missed that game as well. They definitely missed him on Saturday, but Thompson gave him some energy off the bench. Maybe earned this start. Johnson, a little too hard, threw that pass right through the hands of Trayvon Spillers.
Now, and to your point, Dave, they've got 2 games now that'll be under their belt without Jalen Blakes. But Kyle Smith's a master at creating things for his team. He's been a winner at every stop, and so he's going to make some adjustments, but he's had a real challenge on his hands today.
Sellers picked up his dribble. Raynaud for 3. No. Looked good coming out of his hand. Hunter Sallis with the rebound. Wake's going to push tempo a little bit. Spillers played really well against Stanford in Winston-Salem. Nice move there.
Again, Dave, the interior attack. It's been their motive so far is to put the ball inside and not settle for outside shots. They've attacked the rim every possession. But here it is. You can see on the replay, they're going one-on-one on the block, and they're getting some return for their dollar. They're scoring it down low.
18 points, 10 rebounds for Spillers when these two teams played a few weeks ago. Isaiah Sellers having a really good year. Thompson, nice look. Young three, no good. Raynaud, offensive rebound, got knocked down. Ball went right to Thompson for the dunk.
I don't think that was a pass, but a great opportunity for Donovan Young to be there on the spot and finish. Stanford hanging tough early despite being down a couple of guys.
Johnson to the basket. No. Raynaud snatches the rebound. And Maxime, I think we're going to see this a little bit tonight. The big man can be a ball handler.
He loves it. European players, they can handle the basketball. They do it from an early age.
Agarwal wants to go one-on-one against the much smaller Johnson, and he gets a bucket.
I love it, Dave. And Stanford's saying, look, you can attack us down low. We're going to do the same. Stanford's got some pretty good size on the floor. They're not afraid to go down on the block as well.
And Stanford's 12-1 at home this year. They played really well on this floor. Hunter Sallis kicks it to a wide open Hildreth, who knocks down the three.
That's good ball rotation. Stanford over extended down there. I think they left two guys on the ball a little longer than normal, so we're going to have to adjust to that as the game goes on.
Both teams shooting the ball well in the first 5 minutes. Agarwal feeling very confident, had his pocket picked though, and then he commits a foul.
Dave, this is really a big change for Wake Forest. They are really a much improved defensive team. And you can see that they're tough, but they're getting it done on offense. Ball rotation, open threes. You got to cover me. I can knock that down.
A packed Saturday of college basketball for you, headlined by these two great matchups and a little adjustment to the time of the Duke-Clemson game. By the way, Florida-Auburn, top 10 matchup in the SEC. That scene at Auburn these days is so impressive on ESPN2, ESPN. Duke-Clemson here in the ACC. Dick Vitale, his first game of the year on the call of that one. And just a couple of the big-time matchups on Saturday on ESPN, ESPN2. We're here tonight for an important game in the ACC. Stanford 7-4 in conference play. Wake 8-3. Demon Deacons played Duke very tough at home fell a little bit short. Spiller's out of the timeout, missed the shot. So Stanford has the ball. Only the second miss from the field for Wake Forest. Raynaud whips another pass down low. It got deflected out of bounds off of Hildreth. Cameron Hildreth is flying all over the court on the defensive end.
Well, there's no doubt defensively. I think both teams are good defensive teams. Yet both teams are shooting 83 and 62% respectively from the floor.
Nice inbound play. Thompson, his second dunk already, and his third basket.
Yeah, making Cal Smith look pretty good, Dave. Putting him in the starting lineup. He's been a seldom used player. He's ready to go.
It surprised some people, I think, when Stanford said he was going to be the guy to be in the starting lineup with Blake's out. Now Sallis attacks against Thompson, who fouled him.
Well, Jalen Thompson's from Oakland, so he's a tough kid. I mean, you know, he's a local guy, and he's really he's earned this. He's played well in practice, and he's done a good job in his recent games.
Third year in the program, so he's been around a little while. And we welcome those of you joining us here at Maples Pavilion. Dave Fleming, Ben Braun. Stanford 14, Wake 11. Important game late night in the ACC. One of the top players in the conference, Hunter Sallis, at the free throw line, just missed the first of two. He's been quiet, but he's been about the only one. Both teams playing very well offensively in these first few minutes.
Well, Sallis and Raynaud have been quiet, but I can guarantee you they're not going to be quiet for long. Those guys know what it's like to be in big games and score. But both teams are good defensive teams. They're going to make some adjustments. It's going to be interesting to see, again, who's going to handle the point guard duties. So far, different guys brought it up every possession for Stanford.
Now, Wake beat Stanford 80-67 2.5 weeks ago. A little alley-oop play, and the shot was blocked. But there's Cameron Grant, the walk-on who has earned minutes for Stanford, to clean it up. A foul on the floor. So Hildreth went to the basket and draws the personal.
I love, if you watch, again, Stanford, how aggressive they've been. The biggest player on the floor throwing the alley-oop, maybe a little foul in there, but the follow-up, great hustle by Stanford. They've gotten some good inside looks so far in this game.
Stanford missing its star point guard Jalen Blakes, who's had a terrific year, out for a second straight game with a head injury. They hope to have him back on Saturday. Attacking the basket, what a move from Johnson against Raynaud. Scored with a big size disadvantage.
Ty-Laur Johnson aggressive to the basket. The sophomore from Brooklyn shows you his ability.
Another pass from Raynaud down low. Another shot deflected. That was point blank range. And a slow start for Isaiah Sellers. And he's trying to figure out what just happened. Now a foul called against Grant. Well, you do have two of the best players in this league. Sallis, fourth best scorer. He's done a lot of everything for Wake Forest. And Maxime Raynaud, as of right now, he's the leading scorer and the leading rebounder in ACC play.
Now, these two guys get it done. They do it every game. They're very consistent. You got to put most of your game plan together to stop players of this caliber.
Johnson goes to the basket, high off the glass, again with a hand in his face. Two impressive moves from Ty-Laur Johnson to tie the game.
Well, now look who your new point guard is, Dave. How about your 7-footer bringing it up?
I mean, it is true. Maxime Raynaud, with no Blakes in the game tonight, he is going to function on a lot of possessions as the Stanford point guard.
Well, I love it. He's skilled, and he's showing you why.
Now he'll catch and face. Whips a pass across the court. Grant open. No good. Raynaud there for the offensive rebound. He's the best rebounding point guard I know anywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty safe to say, but I love the look. They're getting a wide open three for his teammate. He's distributing from a 7-footer up from up top, from the wing. He's an excellent passer, but, you know, I don't think he thought he was going to be playing point guard his last year, but he is.
That's a good showcase for his all-around skills.
Yeah.
So there's Blake's on the bench. Stanford really missed him on the road on Saturday at SMU. They did not play very well. They've been playing really well as a team lately. Agarwal almost had it stolen away.
Now Blake's a great defender too, so they're missing their best defensive player.
And right now, no Raynaud and no Blake's on the floor. Where's the offense going to come from? Agarwal from way outside, too strong. Offensive rebound. Grant had a hand on it, but it was ripped away by the Demon Deacons. Sallis finds a wide open teammate right side. No good. Harris missed the three. So the game stays tied. Sallis trying to get his offense going. Attacks and draws the foul.
Well, if you're Stanford, you're going to give up some three-point shooting because Wake Forest, Dave, is only shooting 28% on the year. So you're going to give up. I don't think they want to give up wide open shots, but you're going to live with that as opposed to giving up shots at the rim. But I like Stanford's approach offensively. They're trying to get the ball to the rim. They're not settling. They're missing a lot of their scoring, but they're getting the ball to the basket, and they're doing a good job of attacking.
And this young man, Sallis, transferred from USC, averaging almost 15 points a game. He's the #1 3-point shooter in the league in conference games only. Makes the first of 2 free throws. Thursday primetime women's college basketball matchups. You got #5 UConn, #19 Tennessee. That's a good one. And Stanford desperately, they need a big win. Cardinal not used to, on the women's side, being in the position they're in this year. So that's a big game for Stanford at #3 Notre Dame on Thursday on ESPN.
Now, Stanford women will bounce back. They've done it for so many years, and they've just been one of the premier programs. But struggling a little bit this year, but they'll come back.
Possibility they miss the tournament for the first time in decades.
Been ages.
Hildreth got fouled on the floor by Evan Stinson, who just checked in the game, and immediately commits a foul. That's been a problem for Stanford in these first 8 minutes. A lot of fouls called against the Cardinal. They do have a 2-point lead here against Wake Forest at Maples. Back right after this.
For the second year in a row, Wake Forest finds itself squarely on the NCAA bubble. So the Deacs can ill afford any losses to teams below them in the ACC standings. Tonight's 50-50 game at Stanford, following the huge bubble win over Pitt, could be just the result Wake needs to avoid a repeat of last season's Selection Sunday snub.
I think there is some sensitivity in Winston-Salem about what happened last year. Demon Deacons in good position this year. SMU with another win tonight, so they're a half game ahead of Wake. 4th all alone as of right this moment. Duke still the only undefeated team in conference play, 2nd-ranked team in the country. But the glass half full. Wake sort of on the bubble. Wide open three, left side, in and out, no good. This is a chance for a quality win for Wake Forest.
Now, there's no doubt, and I've been in that shoes, Dave, as a coach. You know, I've had teams that had some big wins, but, you know, at the end of the year, you don't want to be snubbed. You want to do everything you can to give your team a chance to get to the tournament.
Pass that almost went out of bounds. Stanford avoided the turnover. We'll see if Sallis can rescue this possession. No, but Donovan Young there on the offensive glass missed the putback. Ball tipped around, and finally Wake comes away with it. Now Stanford's really hit the offensive glass hard.
Now they've had a lot of opportunities at the rim and come up short a couple of times, but they've been attacking it well.
Trayvon Spillers gets fouled from behind by Aiden Kamen.
You know, Dave, getting back again to the Wake Forest, you know, they've had some good wins. They've beaten North Carolina, they've beaten Michigan earlier, and Stanford, but it's about what have you done for me lately, and you got to continue to win going into the tournament.
Wow, very poor inbound defense from Stanford, and a good job by Wake to take advantage of it. Cameron Hildreth draws another foul.
Now, Kyle Smith not happy. He's a good defensive coach, but, you know, you play inside out at the basket. They went over that and shoot around today. We were there. And they don't want to give up anything to the rim and to the basket. You've got to separate. So that's what happens, though, Dave. You play a lot of new lineups, guys that aren't used to playing. These are adjustments that you just don't solve overnight.
I don't think this five has been on the court together this year for Stanford until tonight. First free throw good. I'm
not sure they were even on together much in practice, let alone the game. But here it is. You can see the replay that just you got to see man and ball. You can't face guard. You're that close to the basket. You kind of got to watch the flight of the ball. And a defender just completely lost sight of the ball, and I think that there was a quick substitution following that last play.
Raynaud back in. Chisholm Akpara, who's been dealing with his own shoulder issue. You'll see the athletic tape, sort of supportive tape around his left shoulder. He's in for the first time. A transfer from Harvard, who's one of the best players in the Ivy League last year. That pass, we weren't exactly sure who that was for. Now Agarwal tried to shovel it to Young, and it went right through his legs and out of bounds.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, Dave. I mean, Agarwal was point blank to the rim. He could have taken it up for a foul or a basket. A little bit too unselfish. Again, though, different guys playing different roles and their different strategies, so they're going to have to adjust.
No point guard, no backup point guard for Stanford. They're down their top two options at the one spot. Johnson had his pass deflected, but got it back. Now feeds to Reed, right back to Johnson for three. No good. Reed on the offensive glass, and a jump ball. Arrow does favor Wake. Evan Stinson was not going to let that ball go.
Well, both teams fired up. You can see Stanford, you know, showing a lot of emotion over there. They're rooting each other on. Again, a short bench on both ends, but Stanford with a lot of new players. You know, you got to get out there, and you can see here the play, a nice challenge by Raynaud, but you got to secure the defensive boards.
I saw Tony Padilla, the lead official tonight, talking to the teams after that challenge three. Good! What a shot from Cameron Hildreth.
Oh, yeah.
Went right to the Stanford bench, and I think he got called for a technical.
He did. He was going to let the Stanford bench know that he's not guardable, that shot's available, and he's going to knock it down. I love the confidence, but you got to kind of leave it alone there. There it is. There was a message delivered, and I guess officials decided to deliver a message of their own.
What a shot from Hildreth, who's having a heck of a first half. Raynaud, who's been eerily quiet. That is his first point of the game, the leading scorer in the ACC.
Hard to score points, Dave, when you're playing point guard. So he's going to have to get back on the block down there and have to share the wealth a little bit. But, you know, he won't be quiet for long. He's a team guy, not a selfish player. I think he can put up bigger numbers than he does, but he does it all for this team.
I mean, it is true. Tonight, he's often bringing the ball up the court, and most possessions, he's sort of playing top of the circle, free throw line area, initiating the offense.
Yeah, and he initiates a lot. Here he is again. He initiates a lot, usually on the block, but he's up top a lot too, screening, stepping back, threat from three, and delivering passes.
Trying to hit his teammate cutting to the bucket. That was not a great pass.
Yeah.
And a Stanford turnover. Hildreth out into the open. In attack mode, scores again.
He's on fire. You can see his aggression both at the rim and from the perimeter. He's really playing at a high level.
13 points already. Akpara almost had it taken away. Raynaud, baseline, double teamed. Found Akpara, who hesitated, then shoots the three.
I love the confidence of Akpara to knock that shot down. Stanford's got to find some guys now that aren't bashful. They've got to step up, but as you mentioned, different lineups, different attack methods.
Hildreth, I don't doubt that he's looking for shots now. He slipped, avoided the turnover, and gets fouled at the very end of kind of an awkward scenario.
Well, you can see Wake Forest running the floor in transition, and that's putting your head down and getting to the rim. You got to get back in transition, but here's Akpara. Said, you know what, you're not going to guard me, I'm going to knock that down. So showing his ability to step out. Usually he's an inside attack player.
What a half for Cameron Hildreth, the senior from England, whose father played for the NBA head coach Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse and Steve Forbes, Wake's head coach, are very close friends. And Nick Nurse called Steve Forbes years ago and said, hey, one of my former players has a kid, super tough player. I think you should take a look at him. And he was the #1 player in England in his class. Played on a bunch of the British national teams, and he's had an excellent career.
Well, great story. And again, relationships paid off big time.
Averaging 13 a game. He's already got 15. Raynaud, way too strong on the 3 attempt. And I don't blame him for looking for a shot. He's not had many chances to score in this first half. Hildreth, 3, no.
That was a heat check. First time he didn't really get a good score up shot to the basket.
Agarwal just did not deliver a very good pass. Raynaud attacks. He'll go to the free throw line.
Well, I love Maxime Raynaud's ability to stretch the floor. You've got to guard him from 3. So you rush his 3-point shot, and he just beats you off the dribble with a vengeance. I mean, that's just a shot fake. And then he gets the rim. He had thoughts of knocking it down, and he took a pretty good shot on that possession. But he'll settle and go to the line. I don't think he'll mind making a living here.
Spirit on 2, 1, 2.
Got up, sort of dusted himself off, took a little inventory.
Well, we'll probably take a look at a graphic later, Dave, but, Maxime Raynaud has only gone to the line 3 times a game in the ACC. Now, he's gone there about 8 times during the regular season non-conference, so it's been quite a discrepancy. Once you've gotten into league play, I think the message is let's get there more.
I mean, those numbers, by the way, those are in all of college basketball. A top 10 scorer, a top 5 rebounder. Nobody's had more double-doubles. Nobody in the sport than this young man.
He was the most improved player in the Pac-12 last year, and I'm not so sure he's not one of the more improved players this year from last year to this. So he's shown the ability to get better every year he's played collegiate basketball.
And he's a math major.
How about that? I got a chance to spend some time with his family during the year, and great family from Paris. They're up watching the game 3 in the morning. They never tape. They're up live.
Reed to Harris in the lane. That ball ripped out of bounds, but a foul called. So Juke Harris, the freshman from the state of North Carolina, will go into the free throw line.
He did a good job, Dave, of really showing and exposing the ball in his arms and making you take a piece of him going up. That's really smart play. When you're in traffic, go up with your elbows out and make your opponents take a piece of your arm. Don't expose the ball.
Wake drawing a lot of fouls. Already 9 team fouls against Stanford. That free throw no good. Next Wednesday in the ACC, Stanford against a good, really very solid Georgia Tech team, 7 Eastern. And then Cooper Flagg leads Duke against Cal at Cameron Indoor. So Stanford and Cal are headed back east once again. Catch both those games next Wednesday on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
I never got a chance coaching at Cal to play Duke. I did it when I was at Eastern Michigan. But at Cal now, that's new territory. Both Stanford and Cal going out to play the likes of North Carolina and Duke.
Very memorable game in Cal history from the NCAA tournament. Jason Kidd against Duke.
That was a game heard around the world. Put Cal on the map that year. Very
memorable game between these two in the NCAA tournament many years ago. First time that Stanford and Wake ever played.
Yeah, it was a big win for by the Cardinal. It's a very talented Demon Deacons team.
The last game of Tim Duncan's great Wake Forest career. Agarwal, contested jump shot way short. Well, that just was not a very good offensive possession for Stanford. Kyle Smith looks disturbed by that one. We got a good game here at Maples. 7:49 to go. First half tied at 25. One of the most memorable games, the most memorable between these two teams, Stanford and Wake, back in 1997. Tim Duncan, the National College Player of the Year that year, but it would turn out to be his final game in a Wake Forest uniform in the round of 32. Brevin Knight, second-team All-American, one of the all-time greatest Stanford players. 72-66, the final score. Tim Young, Peter Sauer, Arthur Lee and company ended the Wake career of Tim Duncan, went to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's saying something. That's the same year as Cal we did. And I can tell you this, I coached against that team. They were trouble. Brevin Knight was a load. Mike Montgomery, one of his better teams he's coached here.
I think the Pac-10 that year had 4 Sweet 16 teams and the ultimate national champion, the last
Arizona.
Finished 5th from the league to win the national title. The now gone Pac-12. Raynaud gets fouled by Efton Reed.
That was a memorable year, but you look back, Dave, and that was a big-time win because Wake Forest was good. They were loaded, and Stanford was able to get it there and get that win and advance to Sweet 16. So, big-time win.
Painful loss for Wake in their history. Second foul against Reed. He stays in the game. Wake back up by 2. It's been a back-and-forth half. Sellers attacks. No whistle. Now a whistle.
Yeah,
So,
a late
delayed
call. Late call, but I like the call because there was some contact. Boy, that shot goes down. That would have brought the house down. They look at the cut. Stanford doing a great job against pressure. Basket cutting, and I mean, that's just, you know, that's what you do against pressure. You attack the basket. And Maxime Raynaud and company doing a good job of finding guys cutting.
I mean, he could have, Raynaud officially has 2 assists. He could have about 5 if his teammates were finishing a little more effectively around the rim.
I'm with you. I don't know if he gets to be too good at this. He may find himself playing more out here. he's done it all for this team. But you got to, when you're a guy down, you've got to make some adjustments. So I love the effort by Stanford. They're not feeling sorry for themselves. They're playing. Now they're playing their zone. 1-3-1, the matchup zone. It's been effective.
Hildreth tried a lob pass, and it worked. Wasn't perfect, but Trayvon Spiller's really good athlete. Caught it and dunked it.
Now, there's a weak spot in the zone because you've got Raynaud in the middle of the 1-3-1. Along the baseline at the rim early is where you want to attack that zone.
A couple more offensive possessions like that, and Stanford may not be playing much more of that. Sellers got cut off, and he traveled.
Yeah, good defense by Wake Forest. But let's take a look at that attack on the other end. You get Raynaud in the middle, but they just went over the top and along the baseline. Only one defender, and usually your smallest defender is defending along the back line of that defense.
Smart play by Hildreth. It didn't have to be perfect. Just get it somewhere in the neighborhood.
Now you'll see Stanford go back. They'll show zone, and they'll go back man. Good call by Kyle Smith. Mix it up.
Reed backing his way in against Raynaud. Elevates. Foul.
Well, there was a bumping going on before the foul call. I think the official said, you know, I got to call that one with the body a little bit. But Raynaud's good enough, Maxime Raynaud good enough to play one-on-one in the post. You usually don't need to bring a double team. He's done a good job this year of staying out of foul trouble and then using his 7'1" frame to defend.
Stanford missing some of its best players and now piling up the fouls. Reed makes the first of 2. Double bonus for the final 6:25 of the first half for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, that's a long stretch to go with the double bonus, and don't think Wake Forest doesn't know that. They're going to be every opportunity trying to get to that foul line.
It was the first foul against Raynaud, who was in big-time foul trouble in the first matchup between these two teams.
Well, and the good news for Stanford is they can play zone. They've got it in their arsenal. Kyle Smith's always employed zone defenses, so they'll mix it up. If they have to, they'll go back in the zone.
Reed made them both. He goes to the bench. Wake's got a 5-point lead. Stanford's gone cold on offense. They haven't made a shot from the field in 3 minutes. And they're 1 for their last 8 shooting from the floor. Just good Wake Forest defense. Sellers, Johnson glued to him. Raynaud double team comes immediately, passes over the top. Now Young down low. No. Ball in and out, and another shot from close range that didn't go down.
Yeah, point blank. You talked about it a second ago. They've missed a ton of those.
Hunter Sallis. Wake hasn't needed much from him. Here goes Johnson. Dishes it back up top. Harris in and out. Good look. Missed the shot.
I love it. Maxime Raynaud says, go down to the floor. I got this. 7'1" point guard. His new role.
Agarwal. Extra pass. Sellers wide open. Corner 3. No. This is a guy shooting 50% from three-point range in conference play, and nobody was guarding him.
Yeah, good look.
Johnson goes to the bucket. Missed the shot. And a fight for the rebound. They're going to call, I believe, Jalen Thompson of Stanford for the foul.
Well, if Isaiah Sellers can get good looks from 3, you'll take it because he's torching the net from the 3-point line this year. Stanford doing a good job rotating, but now, as you said, Dave, they're really creating a deficit here for themselves on this end. They're putting Wake Forest to the line. They're shooting bonus the rest of the way. There's a ton of time left in this half.
So it's Juke Harris, the freshman, who's been a much bigger part of this team, I think, than they expected at the start of the year. Makes the first of his 2 free throws. Head coach Steve Forbes done a really good job with this program. His 5th year, all of a sudden, Steve's one of the deans of the ACC coaching ranks.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, some of the departures, obviously some coaches stepping down in the last year or 2. And now Steve Forbes still holding down the fort.
Raynaud snatches down the rebound. Stanford's got to get the offense going. Osiah Sellers, especially with no Jalen Blanks, 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3.
It's been hard for Stanford to get in a rhythm offensively.
Agarwal gets fouled by Johnson, trying to post him up. So that's going to be free throws for Ryan Agarwal.
Well, I like that approach when you're struggling. You got new lineup on there, and you've got some mismatches on the floor, Dave. Go to the block, create some chances for yourself. Go inside if you can. Here's that mismatch. You've got a smaller guard guarding the taller Ryan Agarwal. That's good strategy.
And you saw Ty-Laur Johnson arguing with the official. He might have had a little bit of a point. Agarwal might have had a piece of that jersey, and now he misses the front end of the free throw. So Stanford just has gone ice cold on offense after a really nice start. Sallis, step back three. No. Offensive rebound. Shot blocked. Jump ball. So Spillers snatched it, went up to dunk it, and Donovan Young got a piece. That'll give the ball back to Stanford.
Yeah, good break for Stanford, but you can see the ball goes up, and here's just a clean ball. Good call by the officials. Play on. I mean, Stanford now has yet another player in the lineup for them, Anthony Batson Jr. So they're playing on their bench. They're exhausting everybody they have into this game to try to get a rhythm and overcome the deficit they're playing against.
Some guys who just have not played very many minutes at all this year, including the guy who's got the ball right now, Batson. Raynaud is screaming at some of his teammates, I think, to start moving. Bad pass stolen by Sallis. Wake might have an advantage. Sallis on the attack, and a blocking foul. Batson commits the foul.
Well, he took the charge, Dave. The question is, was he inside the circle, the arc? And he took it flush, but I have a feeling they're going to say he was inside.
And they're also counting the basket. They're saying goaltend.
Charge all day.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, Dave. I thought that Batson was outside of the cylinder there. And
I mean, and the other thing is Young touched it after it had touched the backboard, it looked like.
Yep.
So they call the goaltend, count the basket plus the foul.
Well, they're going to the monitor, so we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, we'll let Tony Padilla take a look, sort it out, and then we'll come back here to Maples Pavilion, where Wake Forest is taking control of this game. 4:19 to go in the first half. They lead Stanford 34-26.
got you.
Well, the Wake Forest defense has started to take over this game.
Yeah, it is. You can see the delayed double team on the dribble causing the Maxime Raynaud turnover. Now we don't get back in transition, Stanford. So now you're there and you try to take the charge, but you're moving slightly and you give up the offensive goaltend. So a chance for a three-point play on a tough play, tough turnover by Stanford.
You give the Demon Deacons a lot of credit for the havoc they're creating on the defensive side. Stanford's got 4 assists and 7 turnovers in this first half.
Well, and again, you know, we've mentioned that Stanford playing without their point guards, but it's the Demon Deacons that are disrupting. They're a much improved defensive team. This is one of Steve Forbes' better defensive teams.
And Stanford's missing some shots that they normally would make, add it all up, and Wake's got their biggest lead, 35-26. Stanford started 7 of 11. They're 1 for their last 10. Batson, nice attack. He missed the shot from close range, but he does, on the second effort, draw a foul.
Well, that showed you his aggressiveness because he stayed with it. He got point blank to the rim again and missed it, but he had presence of mind to chase his own shot and put it right back up. There's a sweep in the drive. Great opportunity to avoid the defenders, get to the rim. Good job.
He beat the best Wake defensive player, Cameron Hildreth, who's been awesome in this first half. It's the first point for Stanford in a while.
Now, Anthony Batson's a good-looking freshman. Hasn't played a ton this year, but he's got some ability.
He had scored a total on the year, not per game, not per month, a total of 13 points.
Now, not many, but he's perfect from the line. Hasn't missed a free throw all year.
Now a kickball.
But if you're Stanford and you're now trying to play the final 4 minutes of this half, you've got to solve 2 things. One, you got to solve the foul issue because you can't continue to put Wake Forest at the line. And 2, you got to find a way to get your rhythm offensively because they have not been able to get in their rhythm.
Johnson drives down the lane. Johnson, tough shot. Ball tipped out of bounds. It'll go back to Stanford. Good hustle by Juke Harris to help his teammate up.
Yeah, I love it. That's good teamwork. It's being a good teammate.
Don't leave your guy just sitting there on the floor.
No, that's rule number 1. I like Stanford now going to Isaiah Sellers as the point guard. Let Raynaud operate closer to the basket, get some foul calls, and make them double him for some open looks.
Sellers, good pass. Grant, open 3, no. I don't think Stanford, he's a walk-on, but Stanford's very confident in his shooting ability. Sallis thought about the 3. Now drives and draws contact against Young. Another whistle.
That's a clever move by Hunter Sallis. You could see there wasn't much there, but watch his body control. You know, he goes from really creating his own shot to spin. He knows he's got his opponent lunging, and he waits for him to come down and draws a foul. Good play.
Yep. Savvy. From the young man who was such a heralded high school player, went to Gonzaga with a lot of fanfare and had some moments with the Zags on some really good Gonzaga teams, but never played a whole lot. Has really found a home at Wake Forest. Has had 2 excellent years and finishing his Wake career with a bang.
He's put up some numbers this year.
And 1 of 2 free throws, and he'll come out. Preseason first-team all-league player, Hunter Sallis. Parker Fredrickson. We talk about how thin Stanford is, but really the bench is even shorter for Wake Forest. No Devin Cosby, no Omaha Ballou. Both players not playing again tonight.
They play 7 pretty much every game.
Batson again with the drive. Batson back to the free throw line. Well, a guy who has hardly played at all this year, he's given Stanford a nice little spark off the bench.
No lack of confidence by the freshman. I love it. Maxime Raynaud there to pat his freshman teammate on the back, say keep it going. But I love it. You got to be aggressive, Dave, and if you can just get to the rim, you got abilities. Look, he's drawing fouls. You can get 2 points at the foul line every time. That's getting it done. They've missed some shots, but I love getting to the foul line.
Well, that's what Jalen Blanks does so well for this Stanford team, and he's not playing tonight, so Batson trying to fill that role.
Now Blake's just incredible. His ability to get to the line almost at will. So they are missing not only their point guard ability, playmaking ability, best defender, and the guy that at the end of the shot clock always gives you some dividends.
Okay, that's a long list of things.
Yeah, what else could you do for me? But I like Jalen Blake's talking before the game, Dave. He's there. He's rooting on his teammates. He knows he'll get back in action soon, but you love to be on the floor, but you got to help your team, and he's trying to help them from the bench.
They're hoping to have him back on Saturday. NC State will be here. Spillers against Raynaud scores.
I love his ability just to go over his shoulder, even against the 7'1" Maxime Raynaud, who's trying to avoid fouls. So that's a smart play.
Played against Wake in the NIT last year for App State, and Steve Forbes said, I'd like to have that guy.
Well, he got him.
And they recruited him, and he's having a really good year. Okpara down low. Got cut off, finds Batson. Okpara up top, another shot fake. Stanford drives to the bucket and scores.
And he can do that, Dave. He really attacks the basket. Chisholm Okpara did it when he was at Harvard, and he's doing it for the Cardinal right now. He can drive it.
Averaged 16 points a game last year in the Ivy League. Johnson falls down, and they call a foul. So I guess he got tripped. It almost looked from here, although there was a lot of traffic, that he just sort of tripped himself.
Well, he did lose his footing. The question is, did he lose it with some help or just on a slip? Yeah, I think he might have just fallen over the shoes of Chisholm Okpara. I don't know that the shoes could commit a foul. But it looks like in the eyes of the officials there was some contact. I don't think it was directed. I think a good break for Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Maybe the ball doesn't lock.
I know that's what the students behind us were saying.
Yeah.
Maybe with some other words mixed in. Second free throw also no good. All right, now they're really saying it.
All right, well, play on. No harm, no foul. Now you see Wake going to his zone, Dave. They're in a little bit of foul trouble.
Raynaud, they were almost daring Raynaud to shoot. Sellers has been so quiet. Only 3 points in this first half. Extra pass. Raynaud, three. Go!
Now you can't leave him there. He will torch you from three. And you normally don't go out and guard a 7-footer at the three-point line, but he does it well.
Stanford making a little push here at the end of the half. Pass, not a shot. That was a pass, and not a great one from Hildreth.
Great job by Maxime Raynaud. He read the defender. He watched his eyes the entire possession to make that steal.
Let's go, Stanford!
Okpara down low.
Let's go, Stanford!
Backing his way in. Good hands by Johnson to knock it out of bounds.
Dave, what Wake Forest is doing is they're doing a good job doubling off the dribble, but you see Maxime Raynaud and why the pro scouts like his game. I mean, he just, like it's nothing, knocks down shots from three, and he's confident.
Now, that's a true 7-footer.
Let's go, baby!
Just has a beautiful shooting and scoring touch. Raynaud, catch, thought about it. Clock winding down. Along the baseline, got tripped up. And did he call a timeout? No, he was out of bounds. So that's a turnover.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because he just before he was about to make his move, trying to save the possession. There's only going to be 2 seconds left anyway, so Stanford's going to have to regroup. They're going back on defense.
Short timeout. Back to Maples right after this. The final 55 seconds of this first half. Wake Forest looking for a major road win. The Demon Deacons right in the mix of the conversation for the NCAA tournament, right in the upper echelon of the ACC. For that matter, so is Stanford, their first year in this conference, 7-4. Wake had a lead as big as 9 just a few minutes ago. Stanford's cut it to 3. But Wake's got the ball with 55 seconds left.
Now it's a big matchup. You know, it's a situation where a lot of teams go 2 for 1 day. see if Wake Forest gets the early shot or just plays it all the way through.
Harris against Young, initiating that contact. No whistle. A ball tipped around, snatched away. Little jump stop, and the bounce pass goes out of bounds off of Stanford.
That's a good call. Let's see, they're going to reverse it. Nope.
Kyle Smith pleading.
The officials telling Coach Smith, yeah, Coach, give me a little room now. I need some room to operate. There's a seat over there. Just take it. Kyle's very emotional this game. He wants this game badly, Dave.
15 seconds to shoot. Saved in bounds, which you appreciate the effort, just not a great play by Batson.
Now you throw that out of bounds. That's just a freshman mistake. You're taught at an early age. CYO, BBYO. Don't save it under your own basket.
He's playing really hard in this first half, but that was a play that benefited Wake. Stanford looking for the final shot. They blitz Sallis. Raynaud, couple of dribbles with the left hand. How about that one?
He's ambidextrous, and it pays off. Maxime Raynaud, big basket to get a little momentum going back.
Led by 9. Stanford cut into that lead. Demon Deacons have the ball. We start the second half. This is an important 20 minutes for both teams. Johnson goes downhill and tried to find Hunter Sallis. Ball went through his hands.
Yeah, great opening possession for the Cardinal themselves defensively.
Sallis back to Raynaud. Another one of those runners. This one a little too strong.
Yeah, in between there. I thought that's a shot he can make. He made it to close the half, but a little bit off balance.
Sallis from the free throw line came up short. Reed offensive rebound. Offensive rebounding helped the Cardinal. They struggled to shoot for a lot of that first half. This time Wake with the second chance opportunity. No good.
Very good defense by Isaiah Sallis with some help from the center, Maxime Raynaud. Here's Raynaud back to the point guard. 7'1" point guard. Here it is.
We've seen it a lot tonight. Ryan Agarwal struggled at times, I think, in that first half. Lines up the three and hits it.
Must have heard you, Dave Fleming.
Wow.
Yeah, he heard you because he showed no hesitation and said, you know what, I'm a good three-point shooter. I'm going to shoot it with confidence. That's a big basket.
Big time. His second three of the game, and Stanford's tied it up. Sallis, baseline, scores.
You think you're guarding him, as Isaiah Sallis thought he was, but you've got to do more than just put a hand out. You got to put it up and really make it tough on him.
Sallis kicks it into the corner, and now Hildreth there to steal it away. Agarwal, they call that open court foul. The intentional foul, no play on the ball.
Yeah, you got to let that go as much as it's tempting to slow it down. The NBA, that's an automatic stop and just a foul. And no free throws. In college basketball, you put two hands on your opponent on a breakaway. That's a no-no, and so they're going to get burned for the foul.
Yeah, I mean, the spirit of the rule definitely is not a play like that. I mean, there was hardly any contact at all, but it is the rule.
Well, it's a breakaway rule, too. So it's there for a reason. You don't want to impede a player who's got to break away the basket. Otherwise, everybody would do it. So understand the rule. But unfortunately, Stanford turns it over and now commits the foul and gives up the free throws.
Cameron Hildreth, he misses that second one. He is playing so well. He's had a really good year. He's got 16 of Wake's 43 points. He's been sort of the havoc creator on defense. Demon Deacons keep the ball. Back up by 3 after Stanford tied it just a moment ago. Johnson finds Reed, who got stopped at the rim, got his own miss. Now Johnson 3, way off the mark. Ball tipped back again. Johnson, pass deflected and stolen away.
Well, that's a good opportunity for Stanford to stay with it. They got offensive rebounds they gave up, but they stayed with it defensively, and now they came up with the possession.
Double team. That's been a part of this game plan defensively for Wake. Here comes another one. Sallis, pull-up jumper, too strong.
Good job by the Demon Deacons again, just disrupting Stanford and doubling.
Yep, that's good defense. Spillers Elevates, no good, goes to the free throw line.
He's done a nice job this game. They're just getting to the basket with either hand and drawing fouls. And so that's been a really good attack mode for Wake Forest. They're not a great three-point shooting team, so they're going to attack you off the dribble. Here it is. There's a spin into the paint and just getting your defender behind you and going over the shoulder.
He's just a good player. Makes the first of 2 free throws. Trayvon Spillers.
Well, he's 6'7", but he rebounds a little under 10 a game. I mean, he's able to get you boards. He's a double-figure scorer. So, and he blocks shots for you. So he's a big part of this Demon Deacons team.
Made them both. Lead back to 5. Spillers now in double figures with 10.
Well, the problem is Raynaud brings it up, and he's pretty solid with the ball. But then when he gets it back, it's kind of hard. He's going to have to get some guys, to give it up and get it back.
Thompson on the attack, missed it right at the rim. And now lost out of bounds. It's a break for Stanford. Johnson had it, was starting to look up court, and just lost it along the sideline.
Yeah, and I love Maxime Raynaud. He went right over to his freshman and Jalen Thompson, and he just said, look, his sophomore, excuse me, and said, look, keep your head up, keep attacking. It's going to pay off. I love that about Maxime. He's a team player, and he's a guy that can motivate his teammates.
That was a good move. Just didn't finish.
No, and he said, keep doing it.
Now a whistle and a foul against Hildreth, trying to defend the inbound.
And Kyle Smith finally giving the officials a little bit of ovation, getting the crowd behind him now.
That's a big call. That's his 3rd personal.
Well, and that's what Kyle Smith would like to do, is try to accumulate some fouls themselves, getting a bonus, and keep some of their key players. With 7 players on a rotation, you've got to get some of these guys in foul trouble.
Wake drew a ton of fouls against Stanford in that first half. More of this defense just swarming, flying all over the place.
There seem like there's 6-7 guys on defense for Wake Forest. They're everywhere.
Akpara elevates and hits a 3. Well, that's one way to bail out a possession.
But Chisholm Akpara has shown his ability now to knock down threes. He wasn't buying any three-point shots early in the season. He's definitely got his percentage up. There's
Karen Reed to shoot. He's wide open. He's not going to shoot.
Yeah, Stanford going underneath ball screens for the most part.
Sallis finds Reed and an offensive foul. Thompson there to draw the charge.
Well, I love the sophomore from Oakland putting his signature on this game, and his teammates giving him an ovation, giving up his body to get the ball back for the Cardinal.
And he had 3 personal fouls in the first half, which limited his minutes. When he's been on the floor, he's done some good things for a guy who's hardly played at all this year.
Now, and they have to play some guys that haven't logged minutes. Players, we talked about this, Dave. When a guy's down, they don't care as much as coaches and the media. They just want an opportunity to play and show what they can do.
Agarwal trying to step through the double team.
They're desperately trying to get the ball to Raynaud on the block, but he's just getting doubled every possession.
See if Sellers can create something. Still trying to get it in there to him. Finally they do. Raynaud scores. It took a while.
I don't know how Chisholm Akpara got it through the defense on that pass, but Raynaud with the snatch and the score.
That ties the game once again. Raynaud has 11. Sallis, free throw line, good. He loves that spot on the court.
Right, he'll quiet the crowd in any arena, the way he plays offensively. Gets his own shot, goes up high off of his the leap, and he can get the ball down and under.
Yeah, that's just the second possession here in this second half. How do you defend that?
Well, one-on-one, it's hard. You have to bring a second defender, Dave.
Akpara had it stripped away. That's a turnover. Hildreth got cut off by Raynaud. Sallis in the corner, falls down. Akpara did not travel. Raynaud behind the back. Sellers, no. Raynaud puts it in with a foul. Andrew Luck, he's a guy who knows something about passing it, doesn't he?
Oh, my goodness.
Cool.
Watch this sequence, Dave. Here it is. The ball on the floor. Raynaud, the sleight of hand behind the back. Sellers, no. But Raynaud, yes, the putback and a foul. Kiss for three-point play.
These programs in their history have a great children's. Wake has Randolph. Stanford has Josh, the Pac-10 Player of the Year, 2003, 2004. I would argue maybe the greatest dunker, most explosive athlete that Stanford's ever had.
Dave, I can vouch for that. Now, I was sitting across the way in the opposing bench, and I remember this bouncy floor. He didn't need the bouncy floor. He went up over the top, played at the top of the backboard. A truly great player for Stanford. Best friends with Jamal Sampson that played our center at Cal. And I'll tell you, Josh Childress just got it done. He was a tremendous player and even a better person. Just great sport.
He dunked on your team a lot.
Yeah, Sarah, yeah, thanks.
And every team.
You remember.
And every team.
Every team, thank you. He dunked on Arizona, too, and UCLA. Wasn't particular, I can tell you that.
Raynaud.
But played in the NBA and dunked on a few teams in the NBA as well.
So Stanford's got his first lead in a while. Back ahead 48-47, although overall it's the 10th lead change. We had a back and forth first half until Wake started to separate late in the half. Now good defense from Thompson, but the great shooting touch. Hildreth is just on fire tonight.
Well, how good has he been, Dave? He can get his own shot. He can score in transition. He's strong. He's resilient. He doesn't mind taking some punishment if you're into his body.
He's drawn 6 fouls. So all the other stuff that he's done, he's drawn 6 fouls by himself. Akpara down low. No good. Ball tipped out of bounds off of Raynaud.
Chisholm had a chance to draw some contact there, but you can see here again, look at the maneuverability. He gets bumped once and just gets his own shot, separates. A tremendous one-on-one player, and like you say, he gets to the foul line. He's gotten there regularly this year.
That was good defense. Now Thompson trying to guard Sallis. Sallis elevates, gets another one.
He shoots the ball over outstretched hands. He went over 2 defenders and just made it look easy. He's smooth.
Those are 2 big-time buckets from Hildreth and Hunter Sallis. So Wake's back up by 3. Thompson with the left hand, no. Tried to follow his own miss. Fell to the ground, no whistle. Here comes Wake with the ball. Johnson from the free throw line, too strong. Raynaud, not a great pass, anticipated by Johnson. He steals it away, and he'll lay it in.
And there's the double team, and Cal Smith calls it immediate timeout, wants to make some adjustments. Again, Wake Forest with the double team, off the dribble, off the catch. They're taking care of it.
This has been one of the stories of this game, forcing turnovers on the defensive end, capitalizing on the offensive end. 6-0 run. Wake Forest back ahead.
This is an ESPN Sonic blockbuster. Whoa!
This is star power from the jump. Number 2 Duke, Clemson, Saturday on ESPN.
Sonic blockbuster. Whoa!
This is star power from the jump. Number 2 Duke, Clemson, Saturday on ESPN.
It's big game in the ACC Saturday. Game time a little adjusted, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN. Dick Vitale's going to be there. Cooper Flagg has been so good. Maxime Raynaud leading this league in scoring, but Cooper Flagg's been awesome. Hunter Sallis, 4th in the league in points per game. Those two on the floor here tonight for an important ACC game and a little push from Wake. 6-0 run. Wake Forest back ahead. Kyle Smith making an adjustment to his lineup. Akpara swarmed down low. Instead of passing, scores.
That had to come right out of that timeout. The message was simple, guys. Don't settle. Don't throw it away. Don't give it to the guys in the dark uniforms. Take it to the rim. And they did.
Akpara's been good. 4 or 5 shooting. He's got 10 now. Here's Sallis, who's really started to turn it up here in the second half. Has made some big-time shots. Hildreth down low, and a kind of weird shot from Spillers off the front iron.
Well, he rushed it, you know, but the 7-footer has you rushing shots, and Maxime Raynaud's presence is felt.
Big man to big man. Raynaud traveled.
Well, the immediate double team. The double team's coming from different spots, Dave. It's sometimes off the catch, sometimes it's off the dribble. That time it came from the baseline side. So, I mean, you can see they forced some baseline. That double team came from the baseline side. 4 or 5 different kinds of double teams tonight, and Maxime Raynaud's got to pay attention to that.
Well, they're asking him to do a lot tonight with no point guard, but he's got 5 of Stanford's 13 turnovers. Sallis, 3, in and out.
Yeah, nice challenge by Maxime.
Stanford talked today in their practice about single-digit turnovers. That was a big goal for the game. Already have 13. Raynaud over the top three. Ball tipped back. Batson, the freshman, who gave some quality minutes in the first half. Tipped it to Sallis. Sallis has been real quiet. Akpara, he's been the effective guy here in the last few minutes. Sallis, baseline, good.
And Dave, he can do that. He's got a way to separate. He's had games where he's carried this team. He's going to have to get aggressive coming down the stretch of this game.
He's had a great year, just hasn't shot the ball particularly well tonight. That's his first field goal made in the game. Johnson three, good. The answer on this side for the Demon Deacons.
Big basket, huge basket by Ty-Laur Johnson. As you mentioned, Isaiah Sallis, he's an unselfish player. Might have to get a little more selfish.
Raynaud picked up his dribble. Hildreth in a tussle with Cameron, and Tony Padilla calls the foul. If that's against Hildreth, I assume it is.
That's a huge call, and you know what? He called about 3 fouls on that possession.
That's his 4th personal.
Yeah, and he's got to play a little restriction, but interesting down the stretch now. Your best scorer on the bench with 4.
That's a problem for Wake Forest. They do lead by 4, 10:51 to go. Well, it is Black History Month. Black History always. Stanford with some warm-up shirts during the pregame to celebrate Black History Month. And Stanford's got a legacy of a great pioneer part of their basketball history. Sebron Tucker, the first black student athlete at Stanford, led the basketball team in scoring 2 different seasons in the early 50s. Black History Month, Black History always. Here in February, Stanford and Wake Forest. Almost halfway through the second half. It's been a back and forth kind of game. Wake's back up by 4. Batson, shot clock winding down, goes baseline and reverses it in.
That's a great individual move by the freshman. Nothing seemed to be there, but he took baseline and hit the reverse. offhand.
Kyle Smith trying to buy a minute or two with Maxime Raynaud on the bench. Cameron Hildreth, meanwhile, on the bench for Wake. Now with 4 fouls. He's been awesome tonight. Johnson passed up a 3. Get cut off at the basket. Missed the layup. Second chance for Wake Forest. A 3. In and out. No good. Did everything but go down for Juke Harris.
That's a good defensive possession for Stanford.
Agarwal goes to the rim. Agarwal spins it home to tie the game.
Well, how about Stanford's aggression to the basket, Dave? They've decided we're not going to settle for threes. We are going to attack the rim, and Steve Forbes has to burn a timeout.
So back-to-back possessions without Raynaud on the floor, getting buckets to tie this game. And this last time it was Ryan Agarwal.
No, I love Ryan Agarwal's aggressiveness. He splits 2 defenders. He gets to the rim, and he's got the English. Count it.
Big day of college basketball on Saturday. 2 great matchups to kind of headline it. Number 1 Auburn hosting number 6 Florida, 4 Eastern on ESPN 2. You got Cooper Flag and number 2 Duke taking on Clemson, 6:30. You got former Pac-12 school Arizona hosting Texas Tech. That's a really good game late at night on Saturday. Wake Forest called timeout and now turns it over. Raynaud back in the game, tipped it away. Here comes Stanford. Batson finds Raynaud, passed up the 3 and got fouled.
Well, I like the discipline by Stanford. Maxime Raynaud could have pulled the 3, but he got his defender in the air. He drew yet another foul. These fouls are adding up and putting Stanford now going to be in the bonus. But how about Stanford, Dave? They've been down. They're down a couple of guys, but they played 10 guys tonight, and Wake's only played 7. So, you know, the advantage now is going to Stanford by getting a chance to use their depth.
Aiden Cameron, younger big man who can play alongside Raynaud. They're both on the court at the same time right now. Shot clock down to 9. Raynaud, long 3, too strong. Rebound Wake. Sallis, Batson played good defense on him. Fredrickson almost lost it. See if Sallis can create a little crossover. Hits a 3. And they say it's a long 2. Foot was on the line. What a shot, though, again from Hunter Sallis.
Dave, you asked me earlier, what can you do against him? Not much. I mean, that's just one-on-one. I'm going to get my shot off, and not much you can do about it.
Big time. Raynaud skips it into the corner. Sellers 3. Good!
Now that's a Maxime Raynaud pass now out of a double team. When he's squared up, he can see the whole floor better than when his back is turned. Great look by Raynaud to his teammate Sallis.
That's a good point. A lot of times he's had to maneuver back to the basket from a long way out.
I think that was a coaching point from his staff on the bench. Square up and you can see your targets.
Now an offensive foul. Reed, that was an illegal screen. I think it was a good call. That's his 4th personal.
As I said, the fouls are going to mount up, and if you're Wake, you've been playing on a short bench. You've got 7 guys that are awfully good, but they have not gone to their bench much, and here's a little bit of an extra movement at the end. If he just stays solid, stays stationary, there's no foul there.
Yeah, there's just no reason to do it. The official's standing right there. You're asking to get called for that. Agarwal. Raynaud down low. Cameron lays it in. Another great pass from the big man.
Yeah, he's still playing point forward. He's still getting his ability to see the floor. Stanford now trying to separate.
Stanford's biggest lead in this game has been 4. They're up 3. Reed down low, trying to clear out. Spin move, had his shot blocked. No, a foul. So Afton Reed will go to the free throw line. But first, a timeout here at Maples. He's a passer, too.
Yeah, you like skilled players? How about Maxime Raynaud? He can knock down threes. He can get to the rim, but he can give you a couple of dimes, as in to his teammates.
Well, it's still a huge need for the folks down in Southern California. Help people affected by the California wildfires. Donate at redcross.org/ESPN. Help the Red Cross respond and help people recover. So many people that I know, so many Stanford alums affected by those horrific fires. So we still need your help. We're going to need your help for many more years to come. redcross.org/ESPN. We appreciate any support you can provide. Good game here at Maples. 61-58. Stanford under 8 to play. Reed at the free throw line, and he's been good at the line tonight.
Now he's knocking down those shots, and you know he's a guy that can get there. He's big, he's strong. If you're Stanford now, you want to continue your attack coming back against Wake Forest because you got them in foul trouble. You can stay in the bonus. How about Stanford? We talked about their bench. Their crowd scored Wake Forest 20-2 off the bench.
Pretty amazing. Some unlikely sources of those 20 points.
I didn't see that coming.
Now Reed's in the game with 4 fouls. Cameron Hildreth on the bench with 4 fouls. Game changed when he had to go to the bench. Sellers elevates, in and out, no good.
Yeah, it's a good look by Isaiah Sellers. He'll take that shot anytime. Just couldn't get it good out.
Wake ball down 1. Sallis throws up a great pass, and Spillers finishes.
Well, you're trying to get a stop on, obviously, on Sallis, and you just give up the dunk to the rim. What a great look by Hunter Sallis.
Now Stanford down low. Raynaud gets fouled by Sallis, trying to help out with the defense, prevent the layup. What a nice play on the other end.
But Dave, look at the drive. You're going to challenge up, so you challenge, but you give up the rim, and you don't expect that. But what a great look from Hunter Sallis for his teammate for a dunk. And now you got Maxime Raynaud, who's now operating along the basket, along the baseline, drawing fouls. I think Stanford's found something here. He may be able to get some free throw attempts by attacking inside.
Goes without saying, all these are important. Raynaud, front end, makes it. Tie game again. 6:33 to go.
Yeah, we talked about his only averaging 3 free throw attempts a game in the ACC, and they're making an effort to get back there this game.
He's not in a rush at the line. He takes his time.
No, he's got a good touch. And after Stanford, you've got to do something with Hunter Sallis. He's been a problem.
Reed sets the screen for Sallis. Again, loves that area of the court. Free throw line, this time sort of swarmed. Gets out of trouble. Shot clock at 10. Now Raynaud steals the pass. Spiller's trying to find Reed. And the big man brings it up the court himself. Down low, Akpara, shot fake, good.
Great ball movement by Stanford. They found open guys. They got double, passed out of it, and they found Akpara, who's having a game, Dave.
He really is.
Inside.
12 points, 5 of 6 shooting. Sallis slipped again. Wow, looked like he traveled. He did.
Well, Stanford turning the table now, and they're putting on some defense of their own. Yeah, Raynaud in this passing lane anticipates, and then he comes down the floor and finds his teammate Chisholm Akpara at the rim.
So Stanford ahead by 3 with the ball. Raynaud has been a passer. He's been a scorer. Cameron Hildreth back in the game with 4 fouls. That's big for Wake. Raynaud, open 3, way off the mark. And Hildreth immediately grabs a rebound and gets fouled. Man, Maxime Raynaud doesn't miss like that very often. That was a good look.
No, he was wide open. And I mean, that would have, again, shaken up this home crowd. He's human.
Cameron Hildreth, he left the game. Wake was up by 4. He comes back in the game. They're down 3. They missed him.
Well, they did, and now they've got the dynamic duo, and they've got Sallis and Hildreth.
Down low, Reed under the bucket. Another foul against Stanford, and Efton Reed back to the free throw line.
Yeah, Stanford's got to find a way, Dave, to play inside out because, again, you know, not the strong suit for Wake Forest to knock down threes, but they're finding a way to get into the paint, to the rim, and Stanford now starting to accumulate fouls themselves.
These are big minutes for both sides. You can see the anguish on the face of the Stanford head coach. Reed makes the first of 2. Thursday primetime women's college basketball matchups. You got number 5 UConn, number 19 Tennessee. Great traditional rivalry on the women's side. 6:30 Eastern. Then Stanford Notre Dame. 8:30 Notre Dame top 5 team. That's Thursday on ESPN. Second one from Reed.
Yeah.
Perfect at the line.
Yeah, be interesting to see, Dave, if Stanford goes at Cameron Hildreth, who's got 4.
2 players on the court for Wake with 4 fouls. Akpara posting up. Very active night for him. Chisholm Akpara spins back and a travel.
Yeah, that looked awkward. I'm not sure the pivot feet move, but the move was a little herky-jerky. Officials right on it. And you can see. Yep, he lifted his pivot. The officials right on that. Good call.
Here's Sallis driving. Sallis contested short. Reed offensive rebound.
Yeah, again, Stanford giving up the offensive rebound.
Been a big story in the second half. Hildreth spins it in along the baseline. Wake Forest back ahead by 1.
He's picking up where he left off. There's no lack of confidence in that young man's game.
Big time game for him. He's got 20. Osiah Sellers. Batson wide open. In and out on the 3. Sallis. Long distance path, and Hildreth will reset. Wake's just a different team with number 6 out there.
Well, they've got some weapons now. You just can't play off of guys. You've got to play this team.
Johnson was falling down, flung a shot up to avoid the turnover.
Yeah, and Stanford was on it.
Anthony Batson's playing good defense in the half court.
But he can do that. He's a very athletic player.
Sallis, one-on-one, gave it up. Raynaud maybe a little reluctant. The outside shot hasn't been falling. He finds Agarwal to the basket. Another assist for Maxime Raynaud.
Well, how's that for chemistry? Those two guys hooked up, never lost eye contact, and great cut by Agarwal for the 2.
And Stanford back up 1. Here's Johnson, open 3. Got it!
Well, Wake Forest not going anywhere, Dave. Stanford's trying to separate. Wake says not tonight.
What a back and forth second half this has become.
Yeah, these two teams are battling. This game means something.
69-67. Batson down the lane, had it knocked out of bounds. No, off his leg. That's a Stanford turnover.
Maxime Raynaud, look at this. Eyes are up. His teammate to the basket. Great look for 2.
Well, Hunter Sallis has been good. Trayvon Spillers has been good. The best player on the court tonight for Wake Forest, Cameron Hildreth.
Yeah, he's just had a whale of a game, Dave. He's done it from everywhere. I mean, he's been there defensively, able to get the ball out in transition, make steals. I mean, he's able to score it. He's also really been a thorn in the Cardinal side because he gets to the basket. He gets by defenders. He uses either hand, and he can score it, but he's aggressive. He's an aggressive player, and he plays with he plays with an edge, Dave. I mean, he picked up a technical earlier, which was one of his fouls, unfortunately, but he plays with that kind of confidence, and if you want to be good, you got to have that kind of edge, and he's got it.
4 personal fouls, including that one you were just talking about.
Yeah.
He's got the top plus-minus number of any player in this game. Wake has outscored Stanford when he's been on the court by 9.
Well, they've got to keep him on the floor and out of the final foul.
There's Sallis looking to get it inside. Hildreth goes baseline. Reverse. No. Reed had it knocked away.
Big possession by Stanford. That was almost a two-pointer by Hildreth again.
That's the 10th rebound for Raynaud. So he's got another one of those double-doubles. Swings the ball over to Sallis. They need Osiah Sallis. Stanford does. He has had a tough shooting night tonight. Agarwal drives. Had his shot blocked. Finds an open shooter. In and out, no good. Rebound, knocked around. Wake's got it.
Yeah, couldn't maintain the possession that time. So Wake again with another opportunity to extend.
Under 2 minutes to go. Johnson drives and a bad pass. Akpara comes away with it. Batson got a hand on the ball. Akpara 1-on-3. Scores with the left hand to tie it up again. Timeout Stanford.
Dave, no hesitation from Shizam Akpara. He gets the ball in transition. He only knew one way to go. That's to the rim, and he got there.
Andrew Luck here cheering on his Cardinal. 12th tie of this game. I also give credit. This kid, Anthony Batson, has hardly played this year. He's the guy who started that with the deflection on the defensive side.
No, he's been active. He's a good defender. He just hasn't had a chance to play a lot with Jalen Blake's playing this year. Benny Gieler as well. But Anthony Batson is a fine player. And now if you're Stanford, you've got to find a way. You know that you're going to have to defend two guys, pretty much Cameron Hildreth, obviously, and Hunter Sallis. So how do you defend those guys? They're too good one-on-one. You better have a second defender waiting in the wings, at least to try to get it out of their hands, because those two guys can burn you.
It's such a big game. In conference play, you got two teams in the upper half of the league. It's such a big game for both teams. NCAA tournament hopes. Joe Lunardi's got Wake Forest right on the bubble. This is just a very big minute, 41 seconds.
Now the crowd's into this game. Now the Stanford players can give them something more to cheer about.
Sallis got bumped, draws a foul.
Yeah, and again, that's a little bit of inexperience if you're a freshman. Stanford's still not over the limit, but you're going to guard Sallis. You're going to have to kind of get guys there and play in the space. Not bump, but just take away space more than try to get steals.
That's his fourth foul, Batson.
Yeah, that's tough.
Good point you make about that, because he's been an effective player for them. The next foul, as you said, will put Wake in the bonus. Hildreth. And a foul. Agarwal got his hand on the ball. Hildreth hit the deck. Agarwal's got to be careful.
I thought Ryan Agarwal did a good job coming up with the ball, but the officials, I think, felt he got a little bit more than the ball. Here's a look. Here's that crossover. You can see it coming out of his hand, and there's the ball. I think you could see why there might be some contact. Now the official's corrected and saying it's a one-on-one.
Yeah. Certainly
not a two-shot foul.
No. So foul trouble on both sides. Agarwal's got 4. Batson has 4. Hildreth, free throw, good. Puts Wake back ahead. He's an excellent free throw shooter. He's been around a long time. He shot a lot of big free throws in his career.
No, he gets to the line, Dave. That's one thing he's done all year long, 120-plus times. So he gets there and he finishes.
Second one also good. What a game for him.
Well, both these teams, in foul trouble, you think, no, you play zone, but there's too many guys out here. You just can't conceive of giving up an open shot. You're going to try to play both teams and make each team take tough shots. Tough twos, probably.
Akpara back in. Raynaud set the screen. Agarwal kind of picked up his dribble. He'll get it back. Agarwal now drives. Dishes. Batson, 3, short. And Sallis grabs the defensive rebound, and then he gets fouled.
Kyle Smith desperately wants a traveling call. Officials doing a great job on the sideline, just calming coach down. Don't want to call it technical in a game this close. I really think it's a veteran crew when they can talk to you and settle you down, not to get emotional back, but you see what Coach Smith was arguing about.
I think the foul came before he traveled.
Yeah, I think that's what the officials were telling Kyle Smith.
Sallis, front end, good. Well, Wake Forest making its free throws down the stretch.
Well, in Stanford, you know, again, we've said this a ton, but we'll say it again. They're playing with key guys out for them, and they're still playing. There you can see the call again.
And maybe Kyle Smith's point, maybe there was a little shuffle before the contact, and then another one after the contact. Both free throws good. And the Demon Deacons at the line, back up by 4. 1 minute to go.
Well, if you're Stanford, you gotta try to find a way to score. Maybe stop the clock here.
Cameron, bounce pass corner, Sellers 3. He's just been off the whole game. Out of bounds off Reed. What a tough shooting night for one of the best shooters in the ACC. Sellers is 2 for 10 from the field.
Well, he's got the ability with his percentages, Dave, to knock that shot down. He's done it all year long. And he's a good driver, but it's just been a tough night. And again, they're playing without their point guard, so he's used to a point guard setting him up more often than he's getting looks tonight.
So under a minute, they can review who the ball is out of bounds off of. They ruled it on the court. Stanford ball off of Reed.
Yeah, I thought it was, but again, as the rule is, you got to have definite evidence to overturn it. It can't be close. So unless there's a definitive proof there, it's going to stick with Stanford.
Well, that looked to me like it was off Reed.
Yeah, and again, even if it's close, it stays. Now you're Stanford. You've got time on the clock, and you've got a good array of out-of-bounds plays, so you've got to try to get something, to the rim if you can, and take advantage of maybe getting some fouls and getting back for some free throws.
Well, you have to. The clock is not your friend if you're Stanford. So whatever happens.
Well, get a foul, get a basket or a foul, and stop the clock if you can. If you're Wake Forest, your job is to not foul. Do everything you can. Give up give up a contested shot. If it goes in, you're okay. You're still up, and you got a chance to extend the lead.
Stanford has 1 timeout left. Wake Forest has 2 timeouts left. Not sure why this one is taking so long. To me, I thought it was pretty clear. It was off of Reed.
Well, there may be a time issue, too. How much time went off the clock, Dave? Maybe more than that. So, but the officials are doing what they need to do. You want to get this right. Don't give an advantage up. But Stanford desperately needs now to try to get a score on the board. And if they can, whatever it is, a look or a free throw attempt.
They call Forest can.
Their best bet to the basket this game has been Aparo. He's attacked the rim all game long. So don't be surprised if you see him try to get a look to the basket, but he's not been a great free throw shooter. Only thing you don't want to do is turn it over.
So they did put a little adjustment to the clock there.
Yeah, that's what they were reviewing.
And the shot clock reset to 20. Agarwal trying to get it in. Raynaud, contested 3, in and out. And a rebound, Wake Forest. Johnson grabbed it. Now Stanford, at some point, they're going to have to foul, and Agarwal gets called for the foul. That's going to be 5 against him.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but if it's too late in the game to worry about preserving fouls, you have to stop the clock. How about Maxime Raynaud? That shot was bottom, and if that goes down, it's a 1-point game. It went down and out, in and out. Wow, tough play. Tough look. Still got a lot of time, though, Dave, in this game. Plenty of possessions left. That's a 5 foul. Now you're going to take some time, maybe freeze the shooter. You're allowed to take some time to sub in. It doesn't have to be right away.
So Agarwal, that is his 5th foul. We thought so. And now he'll come out. I mean, you got to give one thing Wake Forest has done brilliantly down the stretch, and they are a good free throw shooting team. They have made their free throws, and not just one guy, everybody.
No, they've been outstanding from the line, Dave. Come on, they're shooting at a high clip for the game. Almost 90, a little under 90%.
That one good from Johnson. So the lead is now 74-69. They got 43.3 seconds. There's still a lot of time on the clock.
Well, you got to race it up, and you got to get a quick one. If you're Wake Forest, you know you're not going to foul. So Stanford's got to know that. They're not going to foul. They're not going to stop the clock. You're going to get a chance to get a quick 2 if you want one.
Under 40. Grant didn't shoot the three. Stinson is going to drive and throws up a shot. He got fouled.
And that's why you drive, Dave, because that's a foul, stops the clock, gives Stanford a little break and the chance to make some substitutions.
So now guys played very few minutes tonight. Stinson at the free throw line. And who'd they call that foul on Wake? That's Johnson. That's his 5th. So that's a factor because he's the guy who gets everybody organized.
Well, Stanford's going to be able to set up a press, and you're right. If he's your leader and he's your point guard, you're going to have to attack this press without your leader. But Stanford's had to do that all game. So, and without not only their leading point guard, but their backup point guard. They've been without a point guard on the team all game long. What a great effort they've given us.
So the freshman Evan Stinson. First of 2 is good. Originally committed to play for Kyle Smith at Washington State. Came here to Stanford. I think he's got a chance to be a good player. These are maybe the biggest moments of his Stanford career.
Well, if you're Stanford, you also have to find an option to foul, stop the clock, and get somebody who has a low percentage. If you can get somebody that's not used to making free throws.
Stinson makes them both. And then you can set up some pressure. You can take a few seconds, try to get a steal. Ultimately, though, now the player fell down. Sallis, and then Stinson threw it out of bounds. Wow, what a gift for Wake. Sallis fell down. Wake turned it over. And then Stanford chucked it out of bounds.
Well, I think he saw some guys who were standing up on the Stanford bench as some eligible receivers. And
I think you're exactly right. A couple of those Stanford players stood up on the bench.
Yeah, and he saw some white jerseys, and Cal Smith's telling his guys to sit down.
Sallis gets fouled by Batson. That'll be his 5th.
Yeah, that's a tough break because you get the steal, and now if you can just knock down a shot and force Wake to hit some free throws, it's a different look, different game.
Sallis makes another one at the line. Just clutch from Wake Forest.
Now they're
making them all.
They've been on fire, and they've got a number of guys in that team shooting 80 plus, mid 80s, upper 80s. I mean, they're solid.
Second one good. Trading points not good enough for Stanford. Wake's made 25 free throws in the game. Huge part of the story. Sellers he has been cut off in this one. Falls down, but they'll call a foul against Wake.
Well, as I said, Dave, if you're Stanford, you don't need a 3. You got to get some quick scores on the board. You're better driving it because you think that Wake doesn't want to foul and give you free throws, but that's kind of an inadvertent foul there too. Don't want to stop the clock if you're Wake. It's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, that took too much time for Stanford. They do get to the line, but that took a while.
Well, they're going east-west. They weren't going north-south. And as I said, you put it down, you take it to the rim. I don't think anybody's getting in your way. Because Steve Forbes and the staff saying, don't foul, whatever you do. Okay, then drive it.
Both good for Sellers. And now Stanford will use its final timeout, down 4 with just under 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, that's a good timeout because you want to designate, you've got to go to your depth chart now and say, okay, if we don't get the 5 count, we don't get the denial or the quick trap, who will we foul? And you better have a guy in mind that's, maybe you give up 1 free throw and get 3 back. So all that's going to take place on the sideline during this timeout.
But the only guy who was out there in those last couple minutes who hasn't been making all of his free throws down the stretch is the freshman Juke Harris. Everybody else for Wake who's been out there has been just money at the free throw line.
Right, and you don't always have the luxury of determining who the ball goes into and who you're going to foul. Sometimes you can foul away from the ball, but you got to make sure it doesn't look intentional.
12
referees will
ties,
get you for that.
17 lead changes. Hildreth has been a star for Wake Forest. He's had a lot of good games in his career. This is one of his best.
Now, these two teams are battling, Dave. I mean, 7 deep only for Wake Forest. They battled on the road, and Stanford, I mean, what an effort they've given you tonight.
Well, Steve Forbes, if his team just takes care of the ball, they are in control of this game. Stanford needs to create some chaos. They need a free throw miss. They need something.
Well, they got the steal last time. They just happened to throw it to a white jersey that was out of bounds instead in a bench player.
True.
So here it is. There's the full court pressure, I think.
Harris, the one guy who has not been making free throws tonight, is the inbounder.
Yeah, and that's smart if you're Wake Forest. Get it out of his hands.
See if Stanford tries to funnel the ball. Sallis is just too quick. Sallis almost had it stolen away. Stanford does have to foul at some point. They went for a steal. Sallis flips it under the basket. Harris dunks it home.
Now Cal Smith really wanted that travel, that hop. Didn't get it, but it's immaterial now.
Sellers flips it up. No good. Loose ball. Wake's gonna watch the final second tick off the clock, and the Demon Deacons get a huge road win.
Now, big win by Wake Forest. They battled back